today, so I'm sure we will get out on time, if not early. So there will be plenty of time for questions if anyone has any questions at the end. For the agenda, after I speak, we're going to have Trish Pavlitz. She's going to talk about the celebration of cultures and traditions, which is usually our team members, but we want to include all of you, so she's going to go over that. Kim Butler's going to go over Uniguest. Bruce Stewart, chapel updates. Teresa Thomas is going to go over, if you know what FCA and VDA stand for. FCA is a facility condition report. VDA is the company, I looked it up actually, and it doesn't stand for anything, but because I thought someone might ask me, but that's the name of the elevator consulting company that we're using. So Teresa and Andrew are going to go over that. And last but not least, Joaquin's going to go over the dining strategic plan with you. So, to get started, does anyone have a mission moment that they would like to share? Bob Nichols. We got Peter, we got a few.
Thank you. Can everybody hear this okay? Yes. Okay. So, on Saturday, when I woke up, I found out that the handouts that they had at the front desk for menus, the legal size menu was cut off at the bottom, and there's a lot of information you couldn't find on the short ones. You could find those on the long ones, on the tabloid size. So I checked several places. I talked to the front desk about fixing that, and they said, no, that's not in our lane. We don't do that. That's somebody else. That comes from dining services. I went over and talked to somebody in dining services who said basically, well, that's not in my lane. I'm following orders, and my orders are not to do anything about this stuff. It comes from elsewhere, and I don't have the authority to correct that. And besides which, our printer doesn't work. And so that's another reason why we can't do it. So after a while of trying to find out somebody who would say, I'll take the initiative, I found out that Kathy Farmer was the manager on call. So I went to see her. She wasn't there, but they said she was in the bistro. I went there. She was having lunch. But she said, sure, I'll talk to you for a couple minutes. I explained the situation to her, and somehow in the next hour, she was able to make sure that somebody, and I think I know who that is, but somebody basically stepped out of his or her lane and actually took some initiative and made copies. I understand it. This was on the Life Enrichment office's printer. And then we had handouts that, in fact, showed the whole menu on those handouts. So it's Kathy Farmer, and I'm not going to name any other people, but there are some people at the front desk, and there are people in dining service, and maybe there's somebody involved with Life Enrichment, stepped up and fixed that problem. And I was so pleased to see that, because I've tried to do that kind of thing previously and met with nothing but a stone wall. So congratulations to people who are not staying in their lane when it was appropriate not to.
Got Peter, okay.
Morning. I'd like to say a few words about our excellent director of dining, Akeem Ramirez. I'm going to start out with, on the 4th of July, I went out early just to sort of get a spot and kill time. I was near the food line where it was being set up. Joaquin was working with his team, mostly young, inexperienced persons. Joaquin was busy demonstrating, instructing, teaching, coaching, and complimenting his team on their performance. I was reminded that Joaquin had served in submarines early in his life. In that position, he was a baker and a cook. one of the most important jobs as there is on a submarine, since food is so very important. You have 5 meals a day there. You add something called soup down at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and mid-rats for the people coming on and going off watch in the middle of the night. Observing Arkeen throughout the regular day at Goodwin House with his unobtrusive presence, his immaculate personal appearance, friendly leadership, it's obvious we got the best.
Thank you, Peter. Shirley.
I want to thank Yolanda for stepping up and helping me with Voltari Eats, the online ordering service. The person that I was scheduled to have was busy, and of course she's busy, but she said, I'll take her, and patiently walked me through at least 20 or 25 minutes of a lesson. Thank you.
Anyone else? Well, then let's roll into Mythbusters. Yes. Who's got a myth, a rumor? That's Carl? Yep. I hope I have the answer.
Myth. Are we going to run out of toilet paper and have to buy our own?
Anna says no. Anna says no. That's a rumor I haven't heard. Boy, that would be a bad one. Although we did worry about that during COVID. Everyone was hoarding toilet paper. But anyone else? Okay, then. Oh.
Okay, I told Teresa I was going to ask this question, so you should be prepared for it, or else it's her fault.
I'll give her the microphone.
I think the myth is that we've got something here that we don't know what it's for, but we're keeping it there because if we unplug it, it's going to destroy something. And the thing is called System Protect 2000. System Protect 2000 arrived in several of the trash rooms in the tower, and I believe they arrived over in the original building, but I haven't checked that out. Every third floor, roughly, on floor 2, on floors 6, 9, 12, and 15, there about 8 months ago, I think roughly when they were trying to figure out how much electricity was being used by the building, or maybe heat. At any rate, they appeared in the trash rooms right next to the trash chute. And it's a big box. In our floor, on the 9th floor, it looks like it's an old one that's been sort of beat up and put in reuse, and is plugged into the wall. Nobody I've asked, including Barbara, including Amadou, including any of the people who are concerned with the trash room, nobody's ever been able to figure out what those things do. Nobody. One would think that somebody here could maybe figure that out. And so I suggest that somebody do that, what it's there for, and then perhaps we'll not have that secret mystery thing that I've been worrying, maybe the only one that's cared about, but except I know Barbara said, well, why don't you just unplug it, Bob? We'll find out what happens. I said, I'm not gonna unplug that thing. If it's one of the things it could be, when I look it up online, is it could be something that protects against lightning strikes. I don't see how that thing that's plugged into the wall can protect against a lightning strike. But if it can, I don't want to be the person that destroys our air conditioning for the next 6 days.
Okay, that's not a myth. We don't know what it is. And you are the only one that's brought it up, but I asked Andrew if he could talk to IT and see if they can figure out what the box is. I do not know. That is not a myth. So, without further ado, what I would like to do is go into the SECA Awards. And SECA stands for Celebrating Caregivers. And also, I'd like to thank Carolyn Goman, I saw you, Carolyn, and Stetson Tinkham, I didn't see Stetson. They're our resident sponsors that help us select these winners. So what I'd like to start with is the gratitude gift. And the gratitude gift includes a $50 check, and this is for our top nominator. What it doesn't necessarily mean is that that person did the most nominations. Yes, likely it's more than one nomination, but it's the quality of the nominations that count, that they're very individual to that person. So our nominator of the quarter is Connie Lee. Come on up. Connie, most of you probably know, Connie is our director of rehab. So she's over physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech language pathology. She is a physical therapist by trade, and she just got her doctorate. Thank you. Congrats.
Oh,
Now
so what did I do?
Check is in the mail. Check is in the mail. Okay, next we like to do the new hire, and this is someone that's been here for less than a year, and that's done an outstanding job so far. And the person that won this, that also will get a $50 award, is Clarence Holbert. Clarence is, you probably can tell from what he's wearing, Clarence is in our facilities department. So he's been here just a few months, actually, right? Okay, so where do you want us? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 1 more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Thank you. Good job. Oh, wait, Clarence. Your check is not in the mail. Thank you, Trish. Okay, now the biggie wiggy one, which is the real big honoree that we have, and they have a check here. It's a very big check, and there's also a pin that's attached. This check is for $250, and this is the person that won the overall award for the entire quarter. And I would also like to invite the person's supervisor up, but this is for Dante Hibbert.
Since I've been here, Dante Hibbert has been very unassuming. She's always mild and quiet, taking care of customers, doesn't get rattled too easily, even though I've seen her get rattled. But that's when she comes back to me and says, Joaquin, I said, take a deep breath, everything will be okay. So she's very unassuming. She does her job. She has a lot of passion. And there's no doubt that she will go a long way, and I'm very proud of what she's done so far. I look forward to bigger things in her as well. So thank you, everyone. Dante?
Wow. I was not really expecting this, but it's really nice to know that everyone here really appreciates and see the hard work that I've done for, the residents and everyone else. And, oh man. Um, uh, I just wanted to say thank you. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Here's a pin for you. This is a Sika pin. Congratulations. No, you don't keep this. We'll give you a real check. A real check's more valuable. Right, excellent. Okay, so if I could call up Trish.
Thanks, Barb. I think we have a slide for this. Keep talking. Okay. So we have one as one of our strategic advance initiatives, we have the DEIB committee, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging. And on July 30th, we are having a celebration of cultures and traditions. This has been a long-standing tradition in all of our locations, but particularly here at the Alexandria location. And I wanted to make sure that you, the residents, remembered you are included not only, as part of the committee and input, but when we have our celebration of cultures and traditions, we're going to be representing our country. So I will be up with the Filipino flag and wanted to invite you, if you would like to participate, to represent a country of origin for you. We will order the flags. They're 3x5 foot flags, and we just wanted to make sure that you knew this was a joint event. So whenever the slide gets up there, or we could, I think it's been in the Gazette. We can make sure something's in, but if there's a specific country beyond the top 10, we'll need a little time to order the flags. But we hope that you'll join us on the 30th and celebrate our pride in our multiple countries that are represented here at Goodman Living, both with residents and team members. So thank you. Yep, there it is. You could even take your phone out to register right now. If you wanted to scan that QR code, you could even register on right now. So, okay, we hope to see you there on the 30th. Thank you.
Hello. Okay, so for those who do not know me, I am Kim Butler. I'm the Director of Life Enrichment, and I'm up here to speak about Uniguest. You all know I'm the Uniguest girl for Town Hall. I always come speak to you all about Uniguest. One of the reasons is because we want to help our residents get a better understanding of Uniguest, how you can use it, what it does for you. It is also our tool for communication. It's the way that we communicate with our residents. It is also really great for activities, to know where activities are. Uniguest is our communication hub. The more residents use Uniguest, the less. Now, I did find out from someone that we grow trees to make paper. So, but that's not the only reason why we want to lower our print count. Is, you can see the Gazette on Uniguest, you can see the miscellany on Uniguest. There's so much that you can see on Uniguest. It also will help decrease the printing of all of the communications that we send out to the residents. So even if it's not the paper, think about the ink that we use. We use a lot of ink to print the communication. We also use a lot of productivity staff members to print all of the communication. So it really, really helps if we can get more residents. It really helps if we can get more residents to utilize Uniguest so we can do less printing of things. I do know some people just won't use it, but the more and more I come up here and show you easier ways to find stuff on Uniguest. If I can get one person every time, it helps that I'm up here. So with that said, I'm not going to put anybody on the spot. So what I want to do is, we are assuming that a lot of residents do not use Uniguest. So without putting anyone on the spot, with the show of hands in this room, raise your hand if you do use Uniguest. So look around. There are a lot of residents that use Uniguest. So one of the things I'm going to demonstrate on Uniguest right now is, a lot of people have said to me, I still do wish I can just look at something like that. I'm going to show you how to look at something just like that. And then I'm going to also have you take out your phone. So this time it's going to be an active Uniguest workshop. Take out your phones. If you do not use Uniguest, pretend you left your phone upstairs, because if your hand didn't go up, we didn't know. But we'll know now if you don't pull out your phone. But you can pull out your cell phone. When you first get on Uniguest, it's this little thing up the top that says feed. Can everyone see that? It says feed right here. Okay, it could be at the bottom of some people's phone or the top of some people's phone. But on your computer, it's going to be at the top. On your phone, it could be at the bottom. It's going to say feed. I want you to click on feed. When you click on feed on your phone, it's just straight. You have one at a time. When you click on your computer or your laptop, you have 2 rows. The good thing about this is this shows you the activities of the day, where you can actually see the slide of the activity at the same time, and you can click on it and it'll take you to the same part in under activities, where you see all the activities for 30 days, but we don't want to do that. We only want to see it like this. And it will take you for just 7 days, but it shows you the slide of the day, and it's only activity. And I'm going to go back to one place. I said once before, if you go under the community slideshow, it will show you all the slides that you see on the TVs. But these slides are not just activities. They're announcements, they're information, but we don't want that. We just want to know what's going on today, every day. You can see this for 7 days if you just hit the feed, but I'm going to show you something else that's really nice about this. I had one resident come to me and say, daggone it, I missed the activity. Look at what it tells you. If you go down, it will tell you coming soon, starting soon. Let me get to one, because we're already at the end of the day. Look at that, starting soon. So y'all already know happy hour starts at 4 o'clock. So this way, you can look at this every hour on the hour and never miss an activity, because it's telling you it's coming soon. So this is another way, and then I'm on tomorrow. But you just want to do today. So we know that we have, after this, at the town hall, we have 2 more activities left for the day. The Fillmore happy hour and the pop-up technology. And you're done for the day. And then you can go back to feed every morning to see what's starting that day. And then don't miss it because you see starting soon. Any questions? I have a question in the back. Where did I get this from? So on your cell phone.
Hello? Yeah, I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
I called Univest the other day, not called them, got to the activities,
Yours is coming.
and I was looking for the Saturday Morning Live. I got Saturday Morning Live, but it didn't say who the speaker was. It didn't say who the subject was, so that was very frustrating. And on my cell phone, which is cell phone 6, there's no E at the bottom of the page.
No E at the bottom of the page. I'm not sure what that is. On your cell phone, you have an iPhone 6.
Yeah, right.
I'm not sure. That could be an iPhone update issue.
Okay.
Oh, no feed on your cell phone. Okay. I will take a look at your cell phone, okay?
Okay, but what?
But the answer to your first question is when they put the slide in, they should have wrote that information in.
They should have put it in?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
That will be a correction going forward, that we make sure if we have that information, we will provide that information.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Kim over here.
Yes.
I do use this both on my phone and on my computer. And it's really gotten better and better, and very, very good job. What I want to know is whether you can get it on your television. I'm very used to being able to go to 972 for various events that get broadcast and so on. But it's through the television, that's all. Can you get Uniguest up on your television?
No, you can only get the slideshow on your television unless your television itself had the capability of downloading apps on your TV. That would be the only way.
Okay,
But
thank you.
other than that, you can only get the slideshows on your TV. But you can get the other channels on it, but 971 will give you the slideshows. And with all the new fangle dangles they putting in TVs, don't be surprised if you can't work your computer on your TV. Who knows?
My turn?
Yes.
Thank you, Kim. This is Meredith. I have two questions. One thing I've been looking for is the hours of all the dining venues. There's a very helpful one-sheet printout that I have, but I have not found that information altogether on Uniguest. And the second thing is, if you get that page, or I should say when you get that page, because I'll bet it'll happen.
Thank you.
Is there a way that we can enlarge the pages on our phone so they're readable? Many are way too small.
Yes, there is a way.
Okay.
But we would have to do it on your phone. I can't tell everyone because everyone's phone is different.
Okay.
So you would have to come down to the Life Enrichment office, and we will show you, because there is a button that you have to click to be able to open it up. And going back to your original question about the hours, dining information, if it's not there, then dining services will provide the information and put it on there. It's there? Okay, they said it is there.
Excuse me, I wanted to make a comment about the sort of what's on Uniguest and what isn't. Things like the Saturday Morning Live program, it gives you information about the timing and about the location. But the reason I knew what was going on is the information about the latest one was in the Gazette. And I find, I guess to me, right now, I think it's a good combination, being able to get a paper copy of the Gazette plus being able to use the Uniguest. But it does not have specific information about what's going on in the, what the speaker is going to speak about, who the speaker is, what they're going to speak about, and the Gazette had it.
Okay. So just to let you know, Uniguest is one big communication hub. So you can also find Uniguest. You can also find the Gazette on Uniguest. You can also find it on Uniguest.
I have a comment about that. We have a communications director, and he's new, and maybe we should get information to him, because sometimes Saturday Morning Live has information about the speaker. Sometimes the movie night will have information about the movie, but it's not consistent, and it would be nice to have this information provided consistently.
Okay.
Our communications
Excuse me, our communications director is
Sam. She's over here.
a woman. Excuse me.
right here.
Hi, Sam.
That's fine. Don't worry about it.
So, Kate, can I please correct? That is the communications coordinator. Is. But yes, you can go to Uniguest to pull up the Gazette, which Sam does. She puts the Gazette in Uniguest. So there it is. You have everything actually in Uniguest. The human error, correct. We, as humans, need to make sure that the information that you are looking for, we put that in there. So a lot of times we are missing that information, but we need to make sure it's in there. Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, thank you for this information. This is actually very helpful. I may be asking for the impossible here, and I understand that, but it would be beyond, it would make things so much easier if you could go into Uniguest and search, and it would search in all those categories and come up with like a list of hits on the categories. For example, if you went in and you searched for yoga, and it would come up with the list of the yoga activities, or if you went in and searched for something else and it came up with a list of those things. Now, maybe I can do that and don't know how, so please tell me.
Sure. I did discuss that, I think it was 2 town halls ago. But if you go into search, there's the search button at the top right. On your phones, it may be at the bottom, but it's the magnifying glass. That's the search engine for any type of software. It's going to be that magnifying glass. So, Laura, since you said yoga, I typed in yoga. And when we hit the search button, anything that is in Uniguest will come up in terms of yoga. Anything will come up in terms of yoga in here. But this is there, but I'm going to take you back to home, and I'm going to type yoga. And again, anything that's related to yoga will come up. Anything. Just yoga. Because that's all I type. Not only would activities about yoga that come up, I mentioned this before. If you have a bio in Uniguest and you have touched yoga, felt yoga, walked on the floor, did yoga, said in your bio anything about yoga, you're going to pop up, because in your bio, it states that you have some relation with yoga. Jeff, can we use you, please? So Jeff pops up. Let's see what Jeff said about yoga in his bio. There it goes, it's in yellow. Happily, he also was able to seriously pursue yoga. That's what it says for Jeff. So if you put in the search engine anything you want to, you can find it on Uniguest. Anything. Go ahead.
If you're searching for the feed button or the search button on your phone, if you haven't already found it, it's at the bottom. That bar that you see, home, feed, search, more, that's just all going to be on the bottom of your screen.
In your cell phone. But yes, it is so much easier if you hit the search button, because you can find anything you want. Because I remember a resident said that they were looking for something, and it's so much easier to hit the search button. Thank you, Jeff, for us using you. Any other question? So we talked about the search button and feed. I had a question.
Yeah, excuse me. If you get a phone call and the number doesn't mean anything to you at all, you can take the last 4 numbers and put them in that search. And if somebody has a phone number that matches those 4 numbers, that may be who called you.
That their number will pop up. And if you don't know a person's phone number, but you want to call that person, but you know their first name or their last name, put it in the search, they'll pop up. Their information will pop up. You can call them. Anything you want to look for, you can find it through search. Any other question? So just to let you all know, we also do a Uniguest workshop the 3rd Thursday of every month. Sam does that. If you want to learn anything about Uniguest, you can go there. But I'm telling you, I totally enjoy coming up here, doing town hall and talk about Uniguest. Totally. Yep, it's tomorrow. Yeah.
Thank you, Kim. And also, if you go into Uniguest, you see, it's off the screen now. I'd see it on Kim's screen. Chaplaincy notes. Oh, you can't hear me? I got my hearing aids adjusted, and now I'm too loud for me. I can hear just about everything in this room. It's overwhelming. I'm Bruce, I'm your chaplain. Yes, now you can hear me. Okay. In Uniguest, if you go into chaplaincy notes, you can find the weekly bulletin, the scriptures, the hymns, the order of service for Sunday services, Thursday services, memorial services. There's a section where all of the memorial announcements that are on the board and have been on the board, you can go back and refer to those. There is a whole section of events that are going on. There's a section of outreach projects that have been going on. There's a section where you can read the minutes for the outreach committee, the spiritual life committee. All that, all sorts of things in there. So I hope you'll go roaming about when you're looking for things to keep yourselves occupied. There are things there, but we're very fortunate that we can broadcast from the chapel and from the auditorium. There are people watching town hall right now that aren't in the room. They're able to participate because they can watch on the TV. We would appreciate so many of you who've gotten used to watching on TV to show up in person too. But I know there are times when you can't. You're not feeling well enough. You didn't wake up in time. But you can open up your Uniguest and participate that way. And we're very fortunate that you can do that. I have a couple of announcements. I have a new intern with me. You've already met Cindy Hogue. She's in our CPE program, Clinical Pastoral Education. I have another one who's been wanting to volunteer here for several months and finally made it through the process and got through the front door and started on Saturdays. She'll be coming on Saturdays, and her name is Jenny Bush. And she works elsewhere, but wants to learn about what it's like to serve in a community like this. And she's considering going into chaplaincy. And so she's going to be here for, we don't know how long, for some extended period of time, coming to assist on Saturdays. And she'll be helping to deliver the Sunday Bulletin to folks in healthcare. On Saturdays, I've been going to about 50 different residents to take the Sunday Bulletin with the announcements on the scriptures, so they'd have that for Sunday. And she'll be doing that. We have 3 projects I'd like to tell you about. You already know about our Back to School project, where we're raising funds for backpacks for students at Hammond Middle School. Over 260 backpacks we're working on, and putting in school supplies as well. And so far we've reached $1,780. Thank you very much. And if you'd like to contribute to that, you can write checks to our Goodwin Living Foundation with the memo backpack. And please do that before the end of this month, because we want to get all these things in place to the students by the first part of August. Then you've also probably seen the notice for assisting with the Texas flood disaster relief. And the current numbers of that, as of yesterday, 134 persons had died, 37 of which were children, and 97 are still missing. Our partner in all of these kinds of disasters is Episcopal Relief and Development, and they work with the groups on the ground in those local areas. We've partnered with them for hurricanes, fires, floods, the war in Ukraine, all kinds of disasters. And so you can write checks to ERD, Episcopal Relief and Development, with the memo Texas Flood Relief. We've received $380 or $480 so far for that. And then, you know, we have some knitters and crocheters here. And some of you, it's a hidden talent. You do it in your own apartment, in your own time, and we never know. But there's a little project that we've been requested to participate in, and they're called pocket hugs. And it's a little tiny heart that's crocheted, and it takes about 10 minutes to make. This is an example, and there's directions here, and there's a whole description of what it's all about, what it's for. During COVID, we found a number of different ways to try to support our team, who were often in very difficult situations, many quit one job because they couldn't work in more than one place during that time because of various, infection protocols. Well, we're in a lot of stress today too, for other kinds of reasons. Fortunately, it's not so much the COVID reasons, but for world issues and national issues and all sorts of things that weigh upon our team members. And these little crocheted hearts, a pocket hug, is a way to show our appreciation and help boost spirits. And so if you'd like to learn how to do this, maybe you already know how to crochet. I don't. I know how to knit. I don't know how to crochet. So someone's got to teach me how to do this, because I don't understand the directions. But someone who crochets would. And so I invite your participation, and there'll be a little article in the Gazette about this, but I'll leave copies of these directions in the chapel, and you can pick them up. And another way is to come to the knitting group on Thursdays at 2, and somebody there will be able to get you started. And we have lots of yarn, and crochet hooks, so you can come and see us about that, and look forward to your support. Thank you so much for all that you do in your generosity in so many ways, helping people locally, nationally, and around the world. It's an honor to serve as your chaplain. Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce. Good afternoon. I'm Teresa Thomas. I am the Associate Executive Director, and I am going to be talking about our Facility Condition Assessment and VDA, which is our vertical transportation, our elevators. But before I start that, I think we have something to celebrate. The Garage Project. Yes, yes. I think that's a wonderful thing to celebrate. I asked our team members yesterday, and maybe you can answer this question. What month did we start the garage project? What month and year? October 18th. Jen, let's not bring up when it was supposed to end. We started it on October 16th of 2024, and we were able to allow everyone to return to the garage on July 7th, and I think it looks wonderful. It looks wonderful. So thank you for your patience. You are so used to me giving updates on building condition and all of those things, but I'm happy to say Andrew will be joining me to do that today. So come on up, Andrew. We're going to talk about the facility condition assessment. That covers our projects that we were looking at that came from our 5-year assessment that we do on all of our building systems. So it would include our BAS, our building automation system. It would look at all of our humidification projects, window projects. So Andrew's going to talk about that. And then our elevator assessment. So we did contract with a consulting company, VDA. They came out, did an assessment of all 12 elevators that we have, and gave us a punch list. One of the things that I wanted to be sure that we shared with you, that the items that were noted from the consultant, while they were immediate needs, they were more maintenance, not emergencies, not something that would cause us to have a complete breakdown of all of our elevators. But they were items that we have in our contract for maintenance that we needed to ensure were getting done so that we didn't go into emergency management with them. So Andrew will talk about them. It's so wonderful to pass the mic.
Thank you, Ms. Teresa. Good afternoon, everyone. As Teresa said, my name is Andrew Ba Pabite, and I am glad to take on the supportive role to assist Teresa with the facilities. And I want to start by talking about the FCA report. And this is a complete facilities conditions assessment that was performed by a consultant firm. The intention, I believe, was to get into behind the scenes, what we call back of the house, and really get an understanding on assessment on all the major components that really helps operate and to run the facility. And it was a nice report that, you know, once I was hired, it was one of those fine reports that was handed over to me. And I'm actually glad that that was performed prior to me coming in here. So thank you very much. And that helps me to understand, you know, what I'm coming into and the condition and what the facility is in. Once I got on, I got really good support from Teresa, Barbara, Amadou, great knowledge of the building and the history of everything. So we jumped straight in and we actually dived into the deep end. We've got some contractors on board already. And what they've done with us is we've been able to partner with our engineering consultant contractor. And he was actually here yesterday. And part of it was to put some eyes on what the condition assessment was able to produce in the report. We've been able to streamline exactly what we need, prioritize what assets needs to get on the capital for replacements on 2026. Out of that assessment also, we're able to identify some of the immediate needs that needed immediate action of repairs, whether it be leaks, whether it be air balancing, whether it's dampers. All these things have already been identified with the help of John in construction, and so it's not, we're not slowing down on this process. We're taking it head on full speed, and we are in a planning phase where we are identifying and being able to put some budgetary numbers to what these capital improvements are going to look like. So that's as far as the facilities conditions go. When we get to the elevators report, this is for, yeah, elevators is a tough subject. You know, there's been a few entrapments since I've been here. And I know it's not the coolest thing to be in, you know, I don't wish for anybody to be in that condition, but that's exactly why we brought in the consulting firm VDA to help us identify what the conditions are with each one of the elevators. And that report gave us an insight to be able to partner with Otis and be able to come up with, you know, they being the expert, we wanted to know how critical are these things and what is the timeline to them getting it fixed. It's already been at least a month and a half, I would say 5 to 6 weeks, that they've been able to give us an update on some of the items they've already crossed off that list. A lot of them is maintenance related, as Ms. Teresa mentioned, and the ones that we already had planned for capital for replacement is about 9 elevators out of the 12. That capital replacement, I want to talk a little bit about that because the understanding, we all have different understanding on the elevators. So just to give a brief understanding, the cab itself, we've had some interior cab upgrades that's already happened prior to me coming in here. What this modernization is going to entail is pretty much the mechanical portions of the elevator, the electrical components that actually runs the elevator. They call it a command center. The electrical starter kits, the door operating controls, and then also the interior cab buttons as you see inside of it. This modernization is also going to allow us to bring the elevators up to code because the building codes, they change almost every 5 to 10 years. And the modernization allows us to bring these vertical transports into the modern 2025 code. This is going to, you know, we only have 1 or 2 hydraulic systems out of the 9 or 12. And a lot of them are the traction systems, which actually is much more reliable compared to the hydraulic system. And what we're going to do is the cab is just a box, and that's going to remain. The interior may have some modernization done to it. And the main components which you do not see when you're riding the elevators is part of it is in the elevator control room, which is either in the penthouse or in the basement. In this room that's where the pumps are at. That's where the traveling cables are connected to the mobility system. So all those components are going to get modernized, upgraded. So in turn, you're going to have a brand new elevator with all new components from electrical, mechanical, and controls. So in a nutshell, that's what the modernization is going to be about. Any questions? I'll take some questions at this point. We are prepared to go out. Okay.
Sorry. How long will this take? If you can tell us.
Sure. We are in the planning phase, and we're working with a consultant to actually prepare the RFP documentations to go out to bid. So this is going to be a competitive bid, which would include Otis and maybe 4 or 5 other contractors to really make sure we're getting the best buck for our money. As far as from start to finish, we're going to issue the bid documents, I believe, in August. And that RFP process could take anywhere from 3 to 4 months. So we wouldn't really see the project take off until I believe early 2026. By April 2026 is when we're going to break grounds, have shovels in the ground for this process.
Thank you.
Yep.
Certainly since COVID, we have suffered from things like supply chain delays. And I'm wondering if those are still going on in all areas or any areas of our maintenance and support work. And I'm also wondering, in the time that you have been here and your experience with Otis, if you are happy with their service.
That is a loaded question, and a good one for that. Otis, I've worked with Otis for about, I would say, 9 years, and in a leadership role. At first, I was a mechanic, so I just opened the closet for them to come in. But for being in a leadership role, it's been about 9 years. Otis, I would say they have their challenges, which I had a meeting here last week with their new regional director for operations. I also had the service manager, Walter, and then we had our account manager, Danny. So all three of these gentlemen came in here, and I called that meeting specifically because of the complaints and what we were hearing from the reports Teresa was giving to me. So we wanted to understand, what are the challenges and why are we getting, so many breakdowns, entrapments, and all these things. They had some challenges with staffing that it seems to be pretty common. I was expecting them to say that. And in the midst of that, too, they had, not just supply chain, but scheduling was a big deal for them as well. The problem that we're having with supply chain, and that's the reason why we are anticipating the start of the modernization in April, because we're factoring in all of that into it. And so that's a more realistic start date for that. But as far as regular operations and maintenance, we have... Otis is expected to deliver what they're contracted to do. And they being a proprietor for the Otis elevators that we have, it has their name on it, for Christ's sake. We expect them to have their materials and their parts and everything available, which they claim they do. It may be coming from California. It might take a few weeks or so to get here, but it is all local. What we are doing, I'm doing based on that meeting we had to make sure we're getting a more reliable and dependable system to use, is to make sure that we are on top of it as far as their routine maintenance goes. Some of them has fell through the cracks where, they've missed an appointment here, an appointment there. So one of the expectations was we need to have a schedule, a maintenance schedule. We as GHA and Otis can all count on that schedule. We hold each other accountable to it to make sure you're here and performing all the preventive maintenance you're supposed to do. And the second part of it is the VDA report that we had from the consultant contractor. We paid a lot of money for that work. And so we want to make sure that that's not something that they're doing it at their own pace whenever they feel like they have the schedule and the manpower to do it. So we also wanted a specific timeline on when they're going to finish all 12 elevators based on that assessment. Because the longer they take to get to those items on that assessment, the more frequent entrapments we're going to have, the more breakdowns we're going to have, and the person suffering is us. So the expectations, we're setting high expectations for them. We want to make sure that not just are they delivering on their maintenance part of it, but they're meeting what our consultant is putting out for them.
I would just like to say that recently the 2 elevators in the small houses were out at the same time. And I don't think everybody knows that. But that is disastrous How has Otis responded to that verbally? I know they've fixed it for the time being, but that's the newest part of Goodwin House. I hope the upgrade will include those elevators, and perhaps they should be taken care of first.
Good point. Thank you for that. It is one of the newer elevators that we have. Teresa, I believe that's 10, 11, and 12 are all new. And so, but it still had some deficiencies that popped up on the assessment. And those are the items that we talked about in our meeting. And we called that meeting also based on that those two elevators and what took place. So I'm right on the same page with you as far as, let's get those items knocked out from that recommendation from the consultant contractor. And then once we do that, because they pointed out a lot of things that are really just basic maintenance as well. So we want to make sure that at least we're taking care of the reachable things first before we start looking into any modernization, because they're only 8 years old. Yeah.
So to clarify, Otis is an American company, correct? And so the parts for the elevators are made in America, and I'm just asking that question with regard to where do the parts come from? Do they come from inside the USA, or does Otis have to, like in the case of computers and things like that, get the parts from outside the USA?
That's a good question. When I've asked that question in the past to Walter and the regional guys, they've told me that obtaining those parts is not a problem for them. There are definitely chips and boards and things like that doesn't all get manufactured here. But the assembly is being done here, and they have different warehouses in different areas that has the inventory, and they're able to ship and deliver to the various parts of the country. I can definitely ask that question in our next meeting to understand how many of all the parts are made here in the country.
And another part of this is that if I understand you correctly, there's 12 elevators that you're looking at, right? But are you having to replace an entire elevator? Or are you talking about maintenance parts replacement? Or is an elevator going to be designated as needing a complete replacement? And if you had to replace an elevator, do you know how much a brand new elevator costs these days?
To answer, again, that's a loaded question. To answer the first part, yes, out of the 12, there's about nine of the 12 are older, and those are the ones that were recommended for replacement. And by replacement, I mean modernization. Okay. That's the term Otis uses, and I want to stick with that.
All right.
Did I answer all your questions?
Yeah,
I felt like those.
Because I was thinking versus just throwing the whole mechanism out and bringing in a brand new one, but you're talking about modernization.
Yes, please.
Okay.
If we could, and I apologize because I thought we're going to have a lot of time, and Joaquin still has a presentation on dining. I apologize, we're running over. But if anyone has more questions on the elevator, can we hold that until the end of the town hall so Joaquin can go? Everyone agree? Thank you. Sorry. It's a popular thing, but we'd like to welcome Joaquin. Thank you.
Give him this.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the business plan is something that was given to me when I first started. I reviewed it, and Dan, with his wonderful wisdom, has done quite a lot of updates. And this is more not going into what we're doing exactly, but what we have done so far with the business plan. So just to go over a couple of things, we've implemented daily chef specials. We now have weekly pop-up action stations. We now have the Fillmore Lounge happy hour, which we're missing. It's about 5 minutes over. We have Volante Eats training for residents, one-on-one sessions. We now have comment cards in all our locations. We do monthly kitchen tours. We have themed meals in the Fillmore. We had lobster night. We also, tomorrow, will have dining al fresco, but because it's going to be so hot, we're going to be indoors instead of outdoors. We also have the monthly waiters tables. We have the Dutch lunches, which is lunches with management. We've also established cooking demos. We had Juneteenth here. We had omelets in the Richmond, and we had pasta station for the small houses. We've also had tableside tablet ordering in a bistro, and assisted living had additional entrees. We've also, since I've gotten here, we've had new iced tea machines, and now we've opened up Fillmore rooms so that way residents can dine in that beautiful room that everyone has told me about. Still to come, different coffee offerings in bistro, expanded offerings in the Fillmore market, and expanded offerings at breakfast. We now have breakfast sandwiches on Wednesdays and Fridays for those of you who are not aware. Yes, people stop me, and I do listen to what you have to say. I might get it done quickly, but sometimes they might take a little bit longer. Again, we are still in the process of looking at things, moving forward. And I understand, and Dan and I both agree that complacency kills. We don't want to be complacent because we understand that you guys want new and innovative things, and I can't give you everything all at once. So we're going to space things out. Yes, there was other things about a petite filet. We have a steak night coming up next rotation. So if there's any questions about what I just presented, I'd be more than happy to answer. And one last thing, I'm very pleased to be here. The residents are wonderful. They welcome me with open arms. And I, in turn, will do my best to take dining services to the next level. So I appreciate everything that you guys have done so far. Thank you.
I know there's questions, but it's questions or happy hour. So you're welcome to go to happy hour, but if anyone has some more questions for Andrew, please stay back and he'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, you're free to go. Thank you.